Will everybody stop with the Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail narrative? Who do you want to start the game? It's preseason week 1.
And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail.
First option, Joe Flacco. He's played for like 20 years. He's not going to start preseason week 1. The next 2 options would be a Kenny Pickett or a Dylan Gabriel. Both are dealing with hamstring injuries. Neither has practiced a ton recently. If they've done anything, I believe it's been 7-on-7. Who do you want to start the game?
Dan Orlovsky isn't pulling any punches in response to Stephen A. Smith's latest take on the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders. Stephen A. claimed the Browns are setting Shedeur up for failure, but Orlovsky fired back with a reality check. Flacco's too old to start a preseason game. Both Kenny and Gabriel are injured. Who would you start if not Shedeur Sanders? He challenged. That one question flips the spotlight straight onto the Browns' quarterback dilemma, their decision-making, and the mounting pressure on Shedeur. This debate is heating up, and the stakes couldn't be higher for the young QB. But before we dive into the full breakdown, if you're backing Shedeur for the long haul or just can't wait to see what he does next, hit that like button and show your support.
The next 2 options are Shedeur and Snoop Huntley. Shedeur's been there. Snoop Huntley just got there. So while Shedeur may not have had reps with the ones, what else do you want them to do in Cleveland? It's an opportunity for him. It may not be the ideal opportunity. Very rarely is it for a 5th-round pick.
Dan Orlovsky didn't stop there. He pointed out that while the Browns did bring in Snoop Huntley, he's brand new to the roster and still trying to get up to speed. In contrast, Shedeur Sanders has been with the team much longer, giving him a better grasp of the playbook and the system. Orlovsky admitted that Shedeur hasn't had a single opportunity to run with the first team yet, but stressed that even if the circumstances aren't perfect, this is still his shot to prove himself. It's an open door. Now it's up to Shedeur to walk through it. But Stephen A. Smith isn't buying it. He's doubling down on his claim that the Browns are setting Shedeur up for failure. With Shedeur starting his very first preseason game tomorrow, Stephen A. is sounding the alarm. His argument? Shedeur has been completely sidelined from first-team reps, never given a chance to build chemistry with the starters, and now, suddenly, he's being thrown into the fire. In Stephen A.'s eyes, this isn't just questionable coaching, it's a deliberate setup. The timing, the lack of preparation, the abrupt promotion, something doesn't feel right. And Stephen A. says it's time to call this out for exactly what it is.
If I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the 3rd unit. He's 4th on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that.
Stephen A. didn't hold back, making it plain that this entire situation isn't about the coach's vision or the GM's strategy. In his eyes, the real shot caller here is Jimmy Haslam. At this critical point, Stephen A. claims Haslam is focused on salvaging his own reputation, and the way he's doing it is by tossing Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback with 0 first-team reps, straight into the deep end. Shedeur wasn't even part of the original plan for this roster, yet now Haslam is allegedly forcing the move. According to Stephen A., it's a deliberate play, setting Sanders up for failure as nothing more than a shield to protect the image of the man at the top.
I had nothing to do with this pick. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, that wasn't me. That was GM Barry right there. That wasn't me. The owner sitting up there. It wasn't me. Wasn't me. Yo! It wasn't me. That's what he was saying. And I'm saying, really? That's what we're doing now? That's what you're doing? You're trying to disassociate yourself from a quarterback that's on your roster at this particular moment in time. You give him no first team reps. He's been working out with the 3rd team, and then you're just going to throw him in there.
But Dan Orlovsky wasn't buying into any of that either. He openly questioned whether a typical 5th-round pick would even be handed the kind of shot Shedeur Sanders is getting right now. In Orlovsky's view, the path forward is simple. Shedeur just needs to step on the field and live up to what so many have already been saying about him, showcasing the skill set that earned him this opportunity in the first place. And when it came to Stephen A.'s take, Orlovsky didn't sugarcoat it. It's better to cut the crap. For him, the priority is crystal clear. Block out the noise, ignore the politics, and let Shedeur's game do the talking.
Very rarely is it for a 5th-round pick, but it's an opportunity for him to go out there and do in a game what many have reported he's done in practice. Stop with the setup to fail narrative.
Stephen A. Smith, though, made it clear he's not predicting a flop for Shedeur Sanders. In fact, he sees this as a golden opportunity for the young quarterback to shine. But his concern lies in the timing and the way everything is unfolding. To Stephen A., the setup suggests that Jimmy Haslam isn't genuinely invested in Shedeur's success. Instead, the circumstances feel engineered so that even if Sanders delivers, there will always be a cloud of doubt hanging over it. It's as if Haslam is crafting a situation where, no matter how well Shedeur plays, the narrative shifts away from his potential and toward the larger, messier issues behind the scenes.
You know, like you want him to fail. I hope he doesn't. I don't believe he will. And I do believe the opportunity is incredible for him. But I don't like how it's going down.
Stephen A. Smith isn't the only one sounding the alarm. Louis Riddick is right there reinforcing the narrative. Riddick weighed in on Shedeur Sanders getting the preseason start, adding another angle to the conversation. Yes, he agreed. Shedeur finally has his shot, but the real issue is the lack of meaningful reps he's had with the team. Riddick stressed that this makes the challenge even tougher. If Shedeur wants to stand out, he's going to have to play at an exceptional level right out of the gate. Without that built-up chemistry and timing with his teammates, the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. The way Riddick sees it, the deck is already stacked against Shedeur, and those few precious snaps will come with the weight of enormous pressure.
That doesn't mean he's not going to play in the preseason. He is, but he's not getting the reps in practice. So what really is happening is he's going to have to be like spectacular in the preseason games, okay? Because he's not getting the reps right now to practice the things he's going to do in the preseason games.
Louis Riddick didn't mince words. He pointed out that quarterbacks drafted as low as Shedeur Sanders almost never get a shot with the first team, unless someone inside the organization is actively fighting for them. And that's exactly what bothers Riddick. No one seems to know who even pushed for Shedeur to be signed in the first place. That mystery, he argued, only makes the situation more complicated for the young QB. Without a clear champion in the building, Shedeur is essentially walking into a fight where he doesn't even know who's in his corner. It's a tough, uphill battle, and one that feels like it's being fought without the full support of the people who matter most.
And here's the other thing, number two. You have to have people who advocate for you when you are a lower round draft pick. We don't know who's advocating for him within the organization because we don't know who stood up for him and who really wanted to draft him. So I can tell you this right now.
Riddick also pulled back the curtain on a harsh reality of the NFL. It's far from a pure meritocracy. Speaking from his own experience, he revealed that he's seen players with more talent and potential than their peers get completely passed over. Not because they couldn't perform, but because the coaches simply didn't want them or didn't have a personal connection with them. In this league, it's often less about raw ability and more about relationships, preferences, and who's inside the coach's trusted circle. And for Riddick, that's exactly what makes Shedeur's road even tougher. No matter how sharp he looks on the field, the real battle might be happening off it, inside the politics and power plays that can decide a player's fate just as much as their stats ever could.
Don't tell me that the NFL is just a meritocracy and the best players play. BS, it's not the case. Okay, I've seen players, I've been in personnel meetings where people are getting killed who coaches just don't want. And they may be better than the people who are playing ahead of them. I've seen it happen.
At the heart of all this isn't just Shedeur Sanders' preseason debut. It's the growing rift between Stephen A. Smith and Dan Orlovsky over how to interpret it. Stephen A. keeps pointing to the bigger picture, framing the situation as part of a calculated, top-down move by Jimmy Haslam that could set Shedeur up to fail, regardless of his talent. Orlovsky, on the other hand, wants the focus stripped of politics. He's challenging Shedeur to take the opportunity and prove himself, no excuses. One side sees a trap, the other sees a test. And that divide has turned this from a simple quarterback discussion into a battle of philosophies about how the NFL works, and whether Shedeur's fate will be decided on the field or in the front office. In the end, both perspectives carry weight. Orlovsky's belief in seizing the moment and Stephen A.'s warning about the forces working behind the scenes aren't mutually exclusive. Shedeur Sanders is stepping into a rare and high-pressure opportunity, but it's one layered with challenges that go beyond reading defenses and completing passes. Whether this moment becomes the start of his rise or a chapter in a cautionary tale, will depend not only on his play, but on how much the politics, timing, and hidden dynamics shape the narrative around him. So where do you stand in this heated debate? Are you with Dan Orlovsky, confident that Shedeur Sanders has the skill and mindset to push past all the noise and make the most of this shot? Or do you find yourself agreeing with Stephen A. Smith, believing that the circumstances and timing have been stacked in a way that could undermine his success no matter how well he plays? Is this a setup for failure or a proving ground for greatness? Share your take in the comments. We want to know which side you're on and what's driving your opinion.